Okay, good morning. It's Karen Kong, and this is take two of the this or that live. I had some problems with the orientation of the picture. Facebook changed the functionality on the live, so something was weird. I think maybe my screen orientation was set wrong on my phone, and it wouldn't let me turn. So I think I have it fixed now. Let me just double check on my feed on my computer so I can see your comments. Let's see. Okay, Tara says it's better. Thanks, Tara. All right, Sandra's good too. Let me just get this on my computer so that I can see all the comments while I'm doing the live here. Just a second. All right. I think we're good. All right, we're good to go. So like I said, this is Karen Kong. I'm on Facebook Live every week, and this is my This or That show. So on Wednesdays, I post two cards, and I ask people to vote on which card to make for today. And we didn't have a lot of voters, but it was we decided to make this card, and I'll show it to you when I turn the camera. So let me go ahead and get this started. And close your eyes, because I'm going to take my phone and mount it. So it's going to be a little bit bouncy, and you don't want to watch. I'll let you know when it's in place. Okay? Just a second. Okay. All right. Just going to zoom in a little bit, and you can see a little bit better. Oops. There we go. All right. Here we go. So here's the card you guys picked, and this is the one, the other one that I made that we're not going to make. It's a clean and simple design, which I really like too. But this week's winner is this one. So I'm using the Butterfly Beauty dies. There's actually no stamping this week. This week is just die cutting, and I'll be shading the butterflies using a blending brush and dauber. Okay, so let me put this away, and we'll get started on the cutting. So I have pieces left over from the from making this card, and I actually only have one piece left of this DSP, the designer series paper, so just enough to do this live, and then I'd have to find something different. But you know, obviously you can pick like a different paper that you want to use for your own card, because this would work for a number of different patterns. Okay, so I'm going to cut my paper to size first. So my card base is white. Oh, let me put this up here so you just kind of see it in the corner. And it's a square card, actually. It's 5 3/4 by 5 3/4, because I have some old envelopes in my stash that are 6 by 6 that I want to use. And actually, the original layout used a different butterfly die. I believe it is the Butterfly Brilliance. Which is the one, Sandra, you said you had? That's the one it is. So that one, their butterflies are smaller, and they use 3 of them, whereas this particular set, it's one whole die, and it uses up much more space. So I needed more white space to work with, so it worked out well that I made it into a square card instead. Yeah, brilliant wings. Thanks. So that's the die set that's actually available now for butterflies. This is a retired set from last year, but it's the original layout that I got this inspiration from does use the brilliant wings. So I adjusted it to make a square card for me. Okay, so I had to use a 12 by 12 sheet of paper to make my square card, and I have some left. So this is, I need a 5 3/4 by 11 1/2, so that when I fold it in half, it's a square 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. So I think this is a little bit more than 6 inches. Just let me double check. So I need 5 3/4. Yeah, it's just a 1/2 inch more. Okay, so let's trim this down. And I'm using Stampin' Up's paper trimmer, and unfortunately the top part is off the page. Okay, so I'll just show you quickly. that the paper, whoops, 5 3/4. Let's move that back. Yes, Sandra, I'll send you a link afterwards, and you can use that to guide you if you want to try making this card too. Okay, so 5 3/4. So the paper trimmer from Stampin' Up has 2 blades: this cutting blade, the scoring blades, and they move out of the way when you don't need them. So like the scoring blade's not in my way when I want to cut, or if I can move the cutting blade out of the way so that I can use the scoring blade all the way down. So I'm just going to use the cutting blade now to trim this to 5 3/4. Okay, and then I'm going to score it also at 5 3/4. Sorry, yeah, 5 3/4. So that I get a square card. Okay. All right, so now my paper base is done. I need my DSP. So the DSP, again, this is the other half of the DSP that I used. So I need a 5 3/4 by 5 3/4 measurement. Let me just double check. Okay, so this is 5 3/4. No, so this is the long side, I believe. I'm just gonna double check. I always double check everything because once I've cut it, it's too late. Yep. This side is also, this is 6 by a little bit more. Okay, so it looks like I'll have to trim both sides. Okay, 5 3/4. And actually I'm going to save this strip because I found that actually I used it on the inside of the card. Which I don't, see, I just put this on the inside strip just to decorate it. And then 5 3/4. All right. So the other piece I need is a white piece of just 4 3/4 by 5 3/4. So that's this piece here. So this one is, let me just check. This is already 5 3/4, and this is 4 3/4. Oh, I'm in luck. This one is already cut to size. And then I need the polished pink edge, which, where did it go? So I need this piece of paper, which is just a 1/2 inch piece of pink, polished pink. So it needs to be 1/2 inch by 5 3/4. Okay, so I'm going to take this. I'm going to take off a 1/2 inch. So it's really handy that this trimmer has measurements on both sides because now I can measure it this way. So I can measure 1/2 inch that way easily because now my left hand can hold it, and it has all these guides at the top for the smaller pieces of paper. Okay, down there. Okay, there's a 1/2 inch, and it needs to be 5 3/4. There we go. All right, I think that's all the pieces I need to cut, so I'm going to put away the paper trimmer now. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to die cut the butterflies because what you see here is that I die cut the butterflies out of my white sheet and then I glued the butterflies back in, but I don't want the die cutting of the stitch greenery to go onto the butterflies. So I'm going to take the butterflies out first. Okay, so I'm going to get the cut and emboss machine for this. I'll move this out of the way. So here's the cut and emboss machine, and I have the plates I need. So if you're new to using a cut and emboss machine or you don't know how it works, they have all the instructions as to which plates you need to use when you're die cutting, and all the plates are numbered, so it's really easy when you're first starting out to figure out what you need for die cutting. So this is just the thin metal plate. This is my piece. Okay, so I'm going to position it a little bit further over. So this particular card, the way I laid it out, I don't really have a huge amount of room for a sentiment, so I didn't add one. I think I'm just going to leave it off. But what I'm going to do this time is I think I'm going to move the butterflies just a little bit over, so I have a little bit more room here to maybe perhaps put a small sentiment there. So I'm going to position this a little bit further over. It doesn't have to be straight, which is a good thing. I just want to make sure there's even space around there. And now I have a bit more space here to put my sentiment. Although I think I'm going to tilt it a little bit. Okay, so now it's ready to run through the machine. This was one of the first dies that I got, the very first die that I got, and I love it. It's just so pretty, and it has so much detail to it. There's actually a second layer that goes with this, but for this card, I decided just to use the one layer. I suppose I could actually put together another, the two layers together and glue that onto it. I should try that maybe next time. I'll have to try something different. Okay, so you see how it's all cut out now, so I'm just going to detach it from the background. So this one does take some time to take apart, and I'm going to spare you guys the boredom of watching me poke out holes. So the way you remove them, they do actually have what's called the Take Your Pick tool, which has many different heads that you can attach to it. Let me just show you. Okay. Okay. So there's this tool, and there's actually an attachment, a separate attachment that they sell that that is like a little brush, and it's got stiff bristles on it, and you just, and it has a mat to come with it, and you run it over, and it'll just push out all these little spots. So I've been just holding off on, you know, buying everything. So I actually found in my stash, which I don't even remember buying like umpteen years ago, a set of styluses, which works really well. I use like a really fine tip end to poke out like the holes here, like the little tiny holes that are supposed to be cut out. But the Take Your Pick tool is what they have. Plus they do have the big stylus here, which I like using for the bigger pieces. But I have already gone ahead and done this, but I'll just show you what I'm doing like after you die cut this, because there's so many pieces. I just poke them out. You have to do it, I found that you have to do it systematically. I gotta do all this one, peel it off slowly, and then do all this section. Otherwise you could end up tearing the die cut. So this is basically, you know, sometimes I'll die cut a bunch of these and just sit in front of the TV and do it over like a little container, because it's just takes a little bit of time, and I don't know, I find it kind of mesmerizing and methodical work that I don't mind doing it. That's why I haven't bought the Take Your Pick tool yet. But yeah, I didn't think you guys wanted to watch me do this for several minutes. So I've already actually gone ahead and prepared one. Okay, so I've got my butterfly die cut ready to go here. And what I'm going to do next is I want to put that stitched pattern, the stitched greenery pattern, onto my cutout, so that when I put it here, it'll take up some of the white space, right? It just decorates the white space. Okay, so I need my cut and emboss machine for that again. Yes, Sandra. So when I send you the link for the inspiration that I got this card from, you'll see they just use the single butterflies. They use 3 of them separately. So what I'm going to have to do is, in order to lift the wings off the paper, I'm going to have to snip my butterflies apart, which I have done before for many cards, instead of having to use the entire set together, because then I can do more with it. Okay, so I'm going to take the background here, get my So this is the stitched Greenery die, and it just happens that it fits exactly. Like there's pretty much no extra room. So I just got to make sure that it covers the entire piece of paper before I put it through. There we go. All right, let's see how that turned out. Okay. I'm just going to move this out of the way. All right, so you just kind of gotta peel this off carefully because it is stuck to the die, because it doesn't actually cut off anything, it just pierces it. But I find this background is really good. You know, it's subtle and covers the whites, like, you know, does something to the white space so that it doesn't seem so empty, you know? Almost done. There we go. One more section. There we go. All right, so there's the background. All right, so I can start gluing things on. Okay, so here's my card base. What the heck? Oh, I wonder if I didn't trim the edges. See, I'm gonna have to rename this. Stamping gone wrong. There's always mistakes somewhere. It's like Murphy's Law has to, like, yeah, I think this is too long. I forgot to trim the ends. I did the width correctly, but not the end. So let's see, 5 3/4. So it's just this end that's long. So I just need to trim this side to 5 3/4. So I'll just fix that. It's just this side that needs to be 5 3/4. How am I going to do this? I need to trim off. Okay, you know what? I'm going to use something a bit different. I need to trim from the other side, so I have trouble sometimes, like, rethinking how I'm going to do something, and I just use like my biggest trimmer to do this. So let me just double check this. Sorry. Let me just double check. 5 3/4. 5 3/4. All right, back on track. So now this covers the entire thing. Okay, good. Sorry. Sometimes it's just off, the measurements are off like just a smidgen, and if you know, play around, you can find an orientation or something that fits exactly. Okay, so I think I'll use this side. So it basically covers the entire front of the card. And this is the Expressions in Ink paper. It's like one of the first like sets of DSP, because I thought at the beginning I did not really need DSP, like the Stampin' Up! Designer Series paper, but because I have lots of like paper from like my earlier scrapbooking days and stuff like that, but I quickly realized that it just doesn't beat having, you know, completely coordinated colors, and the quality of the paper is nicer. It's definitely better than the scrapbooking pattern paper that I have in my stash. So I just keep gravitating towards that, using this DSP instead of my old papers in my stash. And I think, I know, Sandra, see, I thought we didn't need DSPs. We don't need it all the time, but it certainly does help sometimes. And like, I will, you know, be encouraging my daughter to use up my old stash. because she doesn't really care if it like all matches or not, but she just wants to make cards for fun. Okay, actually, what I'm just going to take a quick look before I lay it down is I'm just going to see how it looks through the paper and how much is left, because sometimes it looks a little bit better on different sides because you know the pattern is not the same on all sides. I think I'll just go with this side. All right, so I'm just going to match it up. Corner to corner, because this is covering the entire front of the card. There we go. Okay. So what I want to do next is attach my pink strip to the back of this. I just want 1/4 of an inch showing through, so I want to attach it like this. So I'm going to use the, where'd it go? The tear and tape, because it's actually 1/4 of an inch wide, so I just need to put a strip of it down and then I'll be good. I just realized by moving this over, I barely have 1/4 of an inch here between the edge of this butterfly, so I'm gonna have to be careful that it doesn't show through. Well, I see that Caitlin's still using kits, but she may branch out and start getting some of the other stuff to maybe make some variations on her kit designs, which is the next step in crafting. Okay, so I'm just going to put this down. Easier to stick on this side. I'm being very careful to get it right on the edge because I know that the other side is going to be sticking out. So, okay. Just get the tape backing off. Whoops. I keep picking up the adhesive when, oh, there we go. Right, so let's see. So I don't want that edge of the butterfly to show. Oh, look at that. Looks like it's, I can see the edge of the pink, and I have adhesive showing. Okay. You know what? I prepared for this emergency. I die cut this one ahead of time too, just in case. Let's see if the other one works better. Yeah, I think I have a bit more room on this one. Okay, so I also moved this one over, but I had not thought about possibly having the pink show through. Okay, so this one works fine. Okay. Okay, that worked out better. Perfect. Phew. All right, crisis averted. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is I'm going to add this gold trim because I want to hide it behind this layer and not show up inside the card. So I'm going to put this on first, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm also going to put a strip of adhesive to help hold down that, that cord. Okay, so I'm going to put it on what will be the outer edge because that's where it's going to stick to. So that it can show sorry, so that it's placed on top of the pink when I tie it. Okay, that's good. And then I'm going to get the cord out first and measure it before I start, before I take off the backing so I don't stick all over it. Okay, there we go. So the original design had like a bow on the front, like they tied a different type of string, like cotton, I think, or linen, I don't exactly know, but it was tied in a bow up here, and I decided that I wanted to have mine at the bottom, just in a knot. Okay, so about this much. Okay, take the backing off. Okay, I'm just going to press it so it doesn't move while I'm trying to tie it. Okay, so this was, I did find this a little bit tricky, trying to tie the knot at the bottom. Because basically I just want a knot at the bottom, and I did it like this. Whoops. Maybe I cut this longer last time. Yes, I must have cut this longer. I think I cut it a bit short to work with, but I guess maybe I won't try it this way instead. I'm just going to try it like a regular knot instead of trying to do both strands at the same time. Okay. Yep, the gold trim is definitely a little bit trickier to work with because it likes to come unraveled. Okay, let's see. I'm going to tie it around and then I'll stretch it to fit and then tighten the knot. Oops. Okay, let's pull it down here. I think this is going to be the trickiest part of the whole live, trying to get this knot. Okay. I think I have it. There we go. All right. Just need to tighten it now. I think that other knot was prettier because it ties differently. And this one wants to come out. Okay, lesson learned. Cut a longer piece of cord so that I can tie it properly. Okay. I'm going to do this without tightening it first, and then I'll slip it on, and hopefully that will work better. See, this is a nicer knot than tying it the regular way. Okay, I think this is going to work. I don't want to say it. All right, so now I have to tighten it up. I'm just pressing it back on the adhesive at the back. Okay. I'm going to pull this. I almost have it, just need to tighten it now. I don't remember this taking me this long yesterday, but of course it only happens when you're trying to do it live for somebody. Okay, I need to move the knot down. And of course it's tight now. I didn't anticipate that knot tying would be the focus of my live. Murphy's Law, you know. You know, maybe what I'll do, maybe I should just trim it and then reattach it so that it attaches right around to the back and have no knot. You know what? Let's try that. Maybe that will be less painful. Okay, I'm just going to quickly peel it off. Actually, if I can loosen this. Okay, maybe can I tighten this further down now? Although the ends are looking kind of frayed now that I picked at them. I wonder if I can hide that in the knot. Okay. I don't think I can. All right, so let's try my second idea. Okay, this time I'm just gonna wrap it around to the back. I'm gonna trim off the excess. Let's see how much excess I have. I'm gonna make sure that I don't make it too short, but I think that I have lots extra this time. All right, so let's try this. I'm gonna stick it to the back. Okay, wrap it around. I'm gonna pull it taut. All right, I think this might work better actually. Yes, I know, Tara, you feel my pain, don't you? I can usually do a bow, but the trim is a little bit trickier because it's slippery, so it comes out of the knots in the bows much easier. So look, actually that worked out better. I think that was fine. Okay, so I've just laid it flat along the back and voila. All right, yay. Okay, so I think I can just go ahead and stick this down now. Okay, what I might do is after the fact, I haven't done it to the other card, but maybe stick like a tiny part of a glue dot. Like I usually like to cut my glue dots. Like here, I have one here that's like just a smidgen. It's like a quarter of a glue dot because I don't really want to show because it's so skinny. But anyways, you can do that later. Okay, so I'm just going to put dots of glue here. Okay, so put on glue. So I can't do just the edges. I'm gonna have to put some glue on the insides here too so that they stay down because you don't want those lifting up. So I just put little dots of glue. so that it'll lie flat, because I don't want it to come up when it's on the card. Almost done. All right. I'm going to use my tweezers to help me with this, because I find that it's much easier to get closer to the paper to line things up and to see where I'm putting things when I'm using tweezers. And there's very little edge to hold on to here, so it also helps. Not get my fingers covered in glue. So I'm just going to line up with the edge here. And the corners. And lay it down. Okay. I'm just going to pat everything into place so that it will dry down. Oops. I'm just making sure I got everything, because I can see some of them are sticking up a little bit. I just want them to be flat. I don't want them to... Okay, I think that looks good. All right, so while that's drying, we're going to take care of the butterflies. So, where did my butterflies go? Okay, so I think what I'll do first is I'm going to cut them apart. So when I initially did this, I thought, okay, I'm going to try doing the whole thing together, and I'll see if I can get the butterfly wings to lift, even though they're not cut, but of course it was not possible. So it's, I think what I'll do is I'll cut them apart first, and then I'll do the coloring afterwards. So I'm just going to very carefully cut along the edge here and separate my butterfly. Okay. This one has a little bit of a straight edge to it that I'm going to get rid of by trimming it. That looks good. Oops. And then this one as well. So it's got a little bit of a corner there. I'm just going to take a nice paper snips oops, can't see. And then I'll separate this one. Okay. I'll fix the edge on this one as well. Okay. So you get more butterflies to work with if they're not stuck together. I've done this a few times now because I sometimes don't want to use the entire die cut as it is, because it does take up most of the card. Oops. Okay, just gonna fix this wing. One more. Okay. Oops. It's okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure why they put all the butterflies together in the dies. It's definitely more useful when you can separate them. Okay, so now I'm going to use Pale Papaya and Polished Pink, which are the matching colors to the DSP here. Because the original design, the butterflies are actually all white. But the thing is that their butterflies and their design, they didn't have so much white space on the wings. And I found that if I just used them white, it was too much white and it was blocking a lot of the pattern underneath. So I decided to see what it would look like if I colored them instead. And I kind of like it. I like how it turned out. Okay, so let's just make sure I'm coloring the right sides. Okay, so we'll start with the biggest one. And I used a combination of a blending brush because it's bigger, and also a sponge dauber because it's smaller for the little guys. So I'm going to start with the blending brush first. The blending brush is actually not the same material as the sponge daubers. The sponge daubers are actually like spongy material. These are bristles, and they're very stiff. And they're really cool. I like it. See, so I'm just going to tap off on the side here so I don't get a huge blot, hopefully, when I first start coloring it. So let's start with the body. I'm pressing really lightly. And we'll do it a few times until I get the shading that I'm happy with. So that is light. I'm wondering if I can get a little bit darker. I'm going to go a little bit darker, so let's add a little bit more ink. Okay, so that's the center of my body. And I think I'm going to put it on the outsides as well, and we'll fill in with the Pale Papaya. Okay. Yeah, I think you'll like the blending brushes, Tara, because like it gives you more flexibility in the colors. You don't always have to have the cardstock that you need, you know, in the right colors, but then you can make it with, you know, your inks. Okay, so there's the outsides. I'll turn it around. Maybe I should try using the butterflies as a stencil next. As you can see, like, you know, underneath is the impression left there. All right, so that's one butterfly. I'm just going to do the body of this one. Okay, so I start brushing from off the paper onto my butterfly. So hopefully, if there's any, you know, heavy ink spots, that they will come off onto the scrap first and not onto my butterfly. Okay. I'm debating whether or not to leave his antennas white. I think I'll just leave it like that for now. And take this one. I think I can still do this. This is going to be a little bit trickier because it is smaller. Because I want to do the middle. Really lightly. All right. So I'm going to leave that. And then this one. Maybe I'll do the bottom half with the top half pink. There we go. And this guy. Did I post a video that uses dies as stencils? Which one was that? Do you remember? I don't remember. Okay, so maybe I'll just do the center of this guy as well. Okay. All right, so I'm going to fill in the rest with pale papaya. Make sure it's really moist, and then I'll do it very lightly again. And I make the make it a bit darker on the bottom, just for fun. Okay. Then I'm going to color this guy in, and I think I'm going to, like the card, I'm going to leave this middle section a little bit white. Okay. Circles all joined. Oh, I don't know that one. I'm gonna have to go back and take a look. Okay. All right, I like that. This one. So it's really fun being able to color the butterflies any color, and you saw in my other card is more of a rainbow effect. So you can use 3 colors on it. If you have the sponge daubers, they're small enough. Okay, this one. And then my big butterfly, last one. Oh, the picture this. Yes, you are right. Yeah, they were using the die actually, but you could use like the die cuts instead. Then you don't have to clean it off. Could have left this one white, I think, but that's okay. looks good. Okay, all done. All right, so back to my card. So now what I'm going to do to get the butterfly wings to lift a little bit, I'm just going to smooth, like press the paper very gently so that the wings will lift. Just a little bit. Okay. So that's really, I mean, oh, I gotta do this one. Just a little bit on the bottom. You can still do it after the glue dries, but it's certainly easier before. I'm gonna bend this just a little bit more. Just slightly. Okay. And then same with this guy. Just gonna bend them slightly so they lift off the paper just a little bit. Okay. Okay, so now I'm just going to put glue in the center of their bodies so that they'll stick. And again, I'm just putting dots. Okay. All right, where's my tweezers? Okay. This way. So I'm going to put it back into their spots. It's just this one. So this one, yes, okay. I'll put the glue back here. Okay. All right, I'll do the big one. So don't worry if you missed the measurements, it doesn't matter because I'll post them in the video description afterwards and you can use them as a guide if you want to make the same square card. But you can also adjust it. I mean, that's all I did is I took the original design and I adjusted it for the size that I wanted. Okay. So just the bodies are getting glued down so that the wings will be able to lift. And I don't want to put too much glue so that it squishes out when you press it down. But this glue should be okay. I know that it dries clear. There. All right. There we go. So that is the card. And then I was thinking I will put a sentiment somewhere. I haven't decided yet, but I did stamp something last night to try out. Either here or maybe up here. I haven't decided yet. But I'll put the gems on first. So I just chose a few gems to put on to the middle of the body for interest. And I'm using the take your pick tool because it's so much easier. You just push the gem off. It sticks to it. There we go. So I'm going to put the biggest one here. I'm going to put 2 smaller ones right here. And on here. And that's the card. So I'll just fold it. And then I'll figure out if I want to put this up here somewhere or here, like I was thinking perhaps. I think what I'll do is I would put it up on a dimensional so that the wing can still lift. I think that's what I'll do actually. Yeah, Tara votes for the lower location. I think so too. Maybe here. I don't want to completely cover the end. Okay, I'll get some dimensionals out. Where did they go? Okay. So I think I'm not going to stick that end down so that, because it's a whole bunch of empty space behind there, like little bits and pieces. So I'll just put the dimensionals here on the sides. Oops. Okay. And we'll stick this on here. I'm going to use my tweezers. It helps me to see where I'm putting it without obstructing my view. Oh, it's stuck. Okay. Maybe I'll put the butterfly wing underneath. There we go. All right. So there's the card. We're all done. Thank you so much for joining in, ladies, and I hope you enjoyed this demonstration, and I'll see you next week. Okay, have a great day.